The NBA season hasn't even started yet, but this debate has already begun. The Paolo Banchero versus Cade Cunningham conversation is heating up after NBA.com ranked Paolo one spot above the Pistons star for best players in the East. Former NBA player Jeff Teague said on his podcast that he would actually take Cade over Paolo. So we're going to do a deep dive into these two budding stars today. Do me a favor, drop a comment below and let me know which of these former number one picks you would prefer on your team. We're obviously rocking with Paolo Banchero over here on Magic Digest. I'm actually thinking Paolo might be the first jersey I buy from a Magic player now that I'm living here in Florida. This wall behind me needs some love. So once I get settled, I'm going to get some Magic memorabilia, deck out this wall behind me. But I'm taking suggestions, so let me know what Magic jersey you think I should buy to put up on that wall behind me. Let's get into this Paolo talk, though. As per usual, this is your host, Sam Rodriguez, for Magic Digest. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss a video as we prepare for another NBA season. Now, the reason that this debate is even coming back up is because NBA.com writer Sean Powell recently released his rankings for the top 10 players in the Eastern Conference going into this next season, with Giannis, Jalen Brunson, and Donovan Mitchell coming in at 1, 2, and 3 in that order, Paolo coming in at 4, and Cade coming in at 5, which apparently has got some people up in arms. Listen, both of these guys are incredible basketball players with some gaudy stats to support an argument for either of them to be in either of those spots. Just a week before this article was released, SI.com released their rankings for the last 5 number 1 picks, with Cade coming in over Paolo. So everybody's got their argument, right? Jeff Teague's argument is that he's taking Cade over Paolo. Not a ton of analysis here from Jeff Teague other than Cade being cold and Cade going crazy in the playoffs, which I can confirm. I watched that Pistons-Knicks series pretty closely. Cade is, in fact, that dude. So we're going to dive into some stats really quickly. Let's start here with Cade Cunningham in the regular season. Cade averaged 26 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds. He also averaged a steal per game and shot 35% from 3. But one knock on his stats is Cade's free throw attempts. His career average of 4.1 attempts is apparently the second lowest numbers of free throws attempted per game among career 20-plus point per game scorers. Now, he did attempt 5.3 last season, so clearly he's trying to improve there. But let's take a look at Paolo's stats from last season now that we're here. Also keeping in mind that Paolo only played in 46 games last season relative to Cade's 70, but Paolo averaged 26 points, 4.8 assists, and 7.4 rebounds. He shot 32% from 3, which has not exactly been a strength over his career, although a bit of a different story come playoff time, and we'll get into that in a bit. But Paolo also ranked 4th in the league last year in attempted free throws. Now, looking at those stats, it's tough to differentiate how much better one is over the other, and neither of them are a perfect player. They both certainly have their legitimate criticisms. We touched on Cade's a bit, but let me get those stats up here just so you can see them a little bigger, so you guys can get an idea of the side by side. We touched on Cade's criticisms a bit. Another one of those criticisms, however, has been his turnovers. In his career, he averaged 4.4 last season and 5.3 in the playoffs, but Cade's also quite the playmaker. He's in the 92nd percentile in usage for point guard. So you have to think the higher the usage, the more the turnovers, right? But to be fair, Paolo also obviously has a high usage rate. So let's turn it over to Paolo's criticisms. Advanced stats for one, and you can see the comparison here on craftednba.com. I love this site. They do a great deep dive into these advanced stats. Cade is obviously coming out a lot better in these categories. That being said, Paolo's efficiency has been an issue, and you can see his true shooting percentage relative to Cade's. That's the very first stat up there. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that Paolo hasn't had a ton of shooters on his team, unlike Cade, who's had Tim Hardaway Jr., who's had Malik Beasley. So with the addition of Bane and Tyus Jones, we're likely to see Paolo's efficiency improve if we haven't already. And we've talked about this on Magic Digest before, and make sure that you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss these deep dives into your favorite players. After the AllStar break last season, Paolo shot 47.3% from the field and 33.3% from three, raising that true shooting percentage from 58.3% from 51.2%. So that improvement was already happening. He also drew 61 shooting fouls, which was the most in the league at that time, and averaged 9.8 free throw attempts, which was also a league high. And this is specifically in reference to a 12-game stretch that Paolo had after the All-Star break. So you can see a huge difference there between him and Cade, and also just want to shout out Paolo for the way he was able to bounce back from that torn oblique injury. He was an absolute monster after the All-Star break. Now, I also want to take a look at Paolo and Cade's playoff stats. Jeff Teague and his co-host gave Cade a lot of high praise for his performance during his lone playoff series against the Knicks, and rightfully so. He averaged 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. The downside to his playoff stats were his three-point shooting, right? He shot around 18% in that series. And like I mentioned earlier, he averaged over 5 turnovers a game. Now, maybe we can chalk that up to it being Cade's first playoff series, but obviously you want your star point guard to shoot better than 18% from three in a playoff game. Now, if we look over at Paulo stats, we'll certainly see some similarities in his two playoff series, the first against the Cavs, second against the Celtics. Paolo is averaging 28 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists, and shooting just under 42% from three on 5.6 attempts. So not so similar there, but it's also not very similar to how Paolo shoots from three in the regular season. And considering the Magic's dismal three-point shooting, this is just a crazy stat to me. Talk about Paolo being an absolute playoff riser. Now, obviously, we have a much bigger sample size with Paolo's 12 playoff games to Cade's 6. But if we're talking playoffs, I have to give the edge to Paolo Banchero. I also have to give the edge to Paolo Banchero in general. It is easy to compare these two, right? Both former number one picks. Both have dealt with injuries in their career. Both one-time All-Stars. That have revitalized these organizations and got them back to the playoffs. But again, in any scenario, I'm confidently taking Paolo. Like I said, given the improvements that the Magic have made to their roster, I think you're going to see some improvements in Paolo's game, specifically that efficiency, his shot quality, now that he's got shooters to kick out to. And same for Cade. He has all my respect. I think that you're going to see some improvements in his game as well, hopefully from the free throw line, hopefully in those turnovers. You just want your star point guard to be able to take care of the ball. But the NBA schedule actually comes out this Thursday. So bet I will be circling those Magic Pistons matchup because those are going to be absolutely explosive. Now, make sure that you are subscribed to the Magic Digest channel. I will be doing a breakdown of the NBA schedule. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm Sam Rodriguez, and I will catch you guys next video.